So last year, Tucker Carlson interviewed one Vladimir Putin. You may know him as the leader of Russia. And if there's a liberal person listening to this live stream right now, or people who are easily triggered by Russiagate or Putin, please try not to cry too much. But everyone was angry that Tucker Carlson did that. But see, the thing is, Putin's been interviewed by many, many journalists, those associated with corporate media and those who are not. You know, I mean, that comes as a territory in the media landscape. But Piers Morgan, do you bloody well condemn hummus? Do you bloody well condemn hummus? I mean, what's Piers Morgan going to do now that the ceasefire is done in Gaza? I mean, he can't milk it anymore. In 2024, it was his bread and butter. But hey, he's interviewing Tucker Carlson. He's going to ask him, do you bloody well have regrets?
When you interview Putin, for example, which as an interviewer, I found it a fascinating thing to watch in full, because especially his first question when he just went off he went.
Yeah, I was infuriated by.
Right. I mean, obviously he was sort of almost filibustering you.
That's what I thought, but
you know,
I've since revised my view. But anyway,
yeah. So it was interesting. There was a lot of sort of reaction to it, good, bad, ugly, as I would have expected. But the idea that you wouldn't have gone to do it, I found absurd. It's like, why wouldn't you? If you got the chance to sit with Vladimir Putin, why wouldn't you?
It wasn't even a question. I wouldn't, because the U.S. government tried to stop me by spying on me and then leaking it to the New York Times twice, which is illegal. So that's why I wouldn't have gone, and threatening to put me in jail for going, which I ignored and went anyway. That was all normal. I mean, that's my job. I just don't understand why people wouldn't want you to go.
Right.
If you're calling for less.
Now, here's the thing. When we talked about it and even gave our commentary on Tucker Carlson's interview with Putin, I just described it as people being hyped up and angry just to get angry. It was during an election cycle, of course. People are still not over the propaganda that corporate media did in regards for promoting Russiagate, and because during the height of the first Trump term, people were very incentivized to be anti-Russia. It still resonates to this day. But that's his job. That's what he's supposed to do. That's what Tucker Carlson or anybody else in his position should do. You know, interview people. I mean, this isn't the first time a controversial figure, leader, president, tyrant, dictator, cult guru, madman, prisoner, anything of that nature has been interviewed by somebody within the U.S. media landscape. I mean, that's what you want to do. Plus, you know, let's be clear about it. It brings in the clicks and the views and the eyeballs. But perhaps maybe the reason why everyone within the establishment media was also against it was because, oh no, Tucker Carlson left Fox News. Oh no, he didn't fall into being irrelevant. And oh no, his audience followed him to his new platform where he grew a very successful and still is growing a very successful channel. And of course, jealousy runs high in corporate media, most notably because CNN and the NBC platforms are hemorrhaging, laying off people, and losing viewers. So out of all the people who are in the cable media newscape, Tucker Carlson's the one who came out more or less on top. Fox News, you made a dumb decision by getting rid of him, but hey, whatever. It is what it is.
Less information that puts you on, not on God's side, on the other side. Like, why are you against more information? Why is that threatening to you? Because you're sitting atop an edifice built of lies. That's why. And you know that it'll come down if the truth emerges. So I felt that was such a clarifying. And I was out of the country for almost a month off the internet. So I missed all the reaction to me. And I never look at I don't read about myself anyway, ever. But I got the sense from people who called me that, you know, I was attacked by people like, how dare he talk to Putin, our enemy? No one asked me whether Putin's our enemy. Why is Putin my enemy? He's never done anything to me. He's never called me a racist. Oh, you're a Putin puppet. No, I'm not. I'm an American. But there's no reason. I have no reason to be mad at Vladimir Putin or anybody else until they attack me or my country. And I just don't accept that. There was never a vote. We're a democracy. In my country, we never had a vote on whether, you know, we, as a matter of policy, hate Putin. It was a bunch of lunatics, some of whom I know personally, Tory and Newland, and these full-blown wackos, these enemies of democracy, decided one day we need to take out Putin because I'm mad at him for some reason no one ever explained. I'm just not going along with that because I live.
The reason why people are mad, is because First of all, if you sit down with Putin, you're gonna have to deal with the situation. He's gonna give his perspective in regards towards U.S. policy, foreign and domestic, and regards how he is being perceived. That's just comes that's what everyone in the landscape of the media was concerned about, fearing about, and that Americans will question, well, wait a minute, why do we have to hate Russia? Why are we in this proxy war with Russia? Why are we doing all these sanctions? Okay. Now, the thing is, Tucker Carlson, look, there's things I agree with him with, things I don't agree with him with. What I found funny in that interview is that even Putin said, hey, you know, you were also part of the CIA too. Ooh, the look on Tucker Carlson's face was kind of priceless, but nonetheless, the interview happened. And I remember saying this when we did cover it, that eventually people were going to move on.org past it. They were going to move away because something else was going to distract them. But at no point in time should anybody feel guilty or ashamed or afraid that they interviewed somebody. I've interviewed a lot of people on this show, and what's interesting in the activist community, in the political community, occasionally you get a message here and there by saying you shouldn't have interviewed that person, or you shouldn't have given that person that platform, or you shouldn't have talked to that political party, or you shouldn't talk to that candidate. Well, why? Why? I mean, if we can't talk to anybody, how do we move forward as a society? How do we push forward? And I'm not asking people to agree with each other, but I am saying this right here and now. Tucker didn't do anything wrong. The only people who did anything wrong was the mainstream media, because the mainstream media was controlling a narrative, and that if they broke away from it, they would once again prove that they cannot be a trusted source. This is the same corporate media that smeared Bernie Sanders support before we all found out how much of a nutless wonder he was. This is the same corporate media that led us into all of these wars, these ridiculous wars, and never questioned anything. The same corporate media that knew about the scandals of Jeffrey E. Hey, looking at you, ABC News. Oh, you thought we forgot that? Oh, no, 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 no. The same corporate media turns a blind eye for the fact that politicians are doing insider trading. Same corporate media that turns a blind eye for the fact that our politicians are bought by lobby groups, that they all have APAC babysitters. This is the system that we have. And Tucker just played I think, a decent role in shaking things up, stirring the pot a little bit. But I don't see anybody like Piers Morgan doing anything like that, I mean, he's had his fair share of controversial guests on, but they're all part of this game, and the game is falling apart. And the evidence is abundantly clear here in America. You have the establishment media going broke, which, if I'm still being too petty about that, my audience, please let me know. In fact, let's have democracy in the chat. Let's have a character analysis of Kit Cabello. Type 1 for Kit. You gotta let this go. This is petty and mean. Be nice to corporate media. Type 2, no, man, be meaner. Be meaner to corporate media, please. It gets me through the morning, as it should. The correct answer is 2. Kit, you rigged your elections. And what are you going to do? Send the United Nations against me? But there's a little bit more to this interview, because there was a conversation. There was a conversation about Winston Churchill. Winston Churchill. On the one hand, everyone knows him as the Prime Minister of Great Britain, but also the man's got his scandals around him and his fair share of, you know him, you love him, war crimes.
No, this is England. This is the country that gave free speech to the United States. This is where it all came from. This is where habeas corpus came from.
Well, hold on. We did have a little revolution. Shout out to the people of Great Britain. Britannia. Never forget your true Roman name. Never forget who you are.
Magna Carta was signed here. This is Western civilization. We talk about Western civilization. What is it? It's England, actually. And so if you allow it to become what it is now, Western civilization ends. I don't think that's overstating it at all. If Saudi Arabia fell today and became Buddhist or something, it would have a massive effect on the entire region. Like, the holy sites are here, right? It's much more significant.
Here's the thing. I know everyone's going to say, and before I hear anyone type in, how often do you think about the Roman Empire? I think about it a lot. It's the tragedy of human history. Only what would happen if Rome never fell? One can only dream. But all empires, getting serious here, all empires fall. They rise, they fall. It is the long sad history of humanity. It is a violent phenomenon that cannot be avoided. It cannot be stopped. Things do happen. Now, are there ways to, I don't know, stop a dangerous fall or civilization falling? Yeah. Yeah, there are ways, but there are many factors. And before anyone starts saying, well, it's because a new group of people are moving in, usually the number one reason why empires collapse is from within, from their own institutions and governments, and when they fail their social contracts with their people. Corruption. All the stories are the same. I recommend checking out Fall of Civilization podcast. Each video has been thorough, and I really like listening to them when I have some time to myself, but they all have the same story. A huge rise to power, and then the tragic fall.
Merely than its landmass.
Let me ask you about.
And the same was true for your country. It was hugely significant for us in the U.S. We're your descendants, and we did what you did, but with like much more land and resources. So I'm very distressed about it. So people want to tell me Churchill's an incredible guy. Really? Well, why didn't he save Western civilization? He didn't even save Poland.
He did.
What did he?
He did save Western
How?
civilization.
How?
He defeated the Nazis.
Hey, listen. They had some help. They had some help from, the Soviet Union, Stalin, Khrushchev, Zhukov, and his fantastic friends, okay? The Red Army. I think everyone needs to remember that, because who took Berlin? No, it wasn't Captain America. Yes, in an alternate version, in one of the Marvel alternate version comic books, Captain America liberates or takes Berlin with the U.S. Army. No, it was the Soviets. The Soviets did it. Great.
But I know he helped defeat the Nazis,
Well,
with his friend Stalin.
The Nazis wanted.
Whoa! Do you bloody well condemn Stalin? Tucker? Why would you say something so controversial? Say that again, Tucker.
Poland.
He did.
What did he?
He did save Western
How?
civilization.
How?
He defeated the Nazis.
But I know he helped defeat the Nazis.
You're goddamn right, Mastermind Hour. Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? I didn't hear no bell. Was it over when Mussolini overran Miami? I don't think so.
Very distressed about it. So people want to tell me Churchill's an incredible guy. Really? Well, why didn't he save Western civilization? He didn't even save Poland.
He did.
What did he?
He did save Western
How?
civilization.
How?
He defeated the Nazis.
But I know he helped defeat the Nazis,
Well,
with his friend Stalin.
The Nazis wanted the whole world to be speaking
I'm not
German.
defending the Nazis. I'm just saying, where is Western civilization? What did he preserve? Where is it? I don't know where it is.
Churchill died the year before I was born. Oh, the same year, actually.
He died in 63, I think.
65.
65.
I think about a month before I was born. It was a natural succession. But the
but the question is like, where's the victory? I don't understand. Like, everyone wants to yell at you for not loving Churchill. Okay,
well, hang on,
show me the victory.
Well, yeah, but
it's a theoretical victory. He beat Hitler. Great. I'm totally for beating Hitler.
Yeah,
I'm totally
for beating Hitler. There you go. Hashtag that should be on a t-shirt. But look, we all know, or at least now we all know, because unfortunately people don't read history books. Looking at you, Justin Trudeau, how is it that you're going to have a Ukrainian soldier, and the parliament says that during World War II he was fighting against the Russians? It's like in 1942, right? Who was our ally? Who was the United States' ally in 1942? Okay, because we were allies with the Soviets. Okay, and Russia was part of the Soviet Union. So put two and two together. Oh yeah, Canada, we see you. Don't you think anyone's ever going to forget that? Maybe it's time you guys become the 51st state. There you go. Anyway.
But the
question is like, where's the victory? I don't understand. Like, everyone wants to yell at you for not loving Churchill. Okay,
well, hang on,
show me the victory.
Well, yeah, but
it's a theoretical victory. He beat Hitler. Great. I'm totally for beating Hitler.
Yeah, but
I'm totally
you
for
can't
beating
say
Hitler.
80 years on that Churchill didn't win the war, because look at what's happened since.
But the war is not just like an engagement in Poland or even in downtown Berlin. The war is the effort to save Western civilization. And I agree with you that Hitler was a grave threat to Western civilization, as Dietrich Bonhoeffer. But that was lost. So where's the victory?
Yeah, but it wasn't lost.
Really? Where's
No.
it? Where's Western civilization thriving?
No, what has happened is you've seen Britain's power in the world diminishing ever since. That is true.
What is Western civilization?
Well, that's an interesting question. I would say that, for example, I would say one of the reasons that, well, the three reasons Trump...
It's Christianity is what it is.
Well, that's okay. I know you believe that strongly.
Well, what...
I know. I got a couple people in my audience right now just punching their screens. Don't worry. Take it easy, everybody. Everyone take a chill pill. Everyone chill. Western civilization. I think of Rome.
Okay,
I'm a Catholic. You're preaching to the choir, literally.
No, but if it's not Christianity, what is it? It's Christianity. That's what it is. It's the political legacy of Christianity. And that's dying. And I'm not saying Churchill was its assassin. I'm just saying, like, he didn't save it.
He didn't save it. But hold on. There's also commentary on the election. The election and high-heel DeSantis was brought up. Don't you ever think we'll ever forget that? The fact that PBD even gave him some high-heel boots. That's funny. And look, I got my criticism of a lot of people, but that was funny that PBD did that, okay? I'll laugh at people.
I think it was August of 2022 when they raided his wife's underwear drawer in an armed raid in Mar-a-Lago on a documents charge, and then tried to tell us he had nuclear secrets in his dressing room or something. It was also stupid. It was so obviously political persecution conducted by the Justice Department, which in our tradition, in our country, like, you can't do that. That is a true attack on democracy. It was really at that moment, I think, that, I mean, I was on vacation with my kids and my wife and kids, and I read that. I was in a foreign country, and I thought, "Ooh, he's going to be president." And then
did you? You instinctively felt
instantly,
if they're going to try and do this
instantly. And I said that to my son said that to me. We're sitting smoking a cigar, and he's like, "Trump's going to win." And I thought, he works in politics, so he's a little better at this than I am. But I was like, "Yeah, that's totally true." And then the opposition, you know, he had a couple, I thought, very capable people who I like. Ron DeSantis, I'm among them.
Yeah.
And the problem with DeSantis was not that he was incompetent. He's supremely competent. I think he did a wonderful job in Florida. And
No, he didn't. Ron DeSanctimonious. Unless you're watching the same primary debates or something, because did you see something different? Because all what they were doing was talking about Trump. DeSanctimonious didn't have a leg to stand on. DeSanctimonious, high heel cowboy himself, of the great state of Florida, failed miserably to secure any kind of victory over Trump. It was a foregone conclusion. Majority of Republicans voting in the primary wanted him. It was over before it even began.
But he was totally a marionette of his donors, utterly. And that became really clear on, like, the war in Ukraine. Like, Ron DeSantis comes out and says, "Oh, the war in Ukraine is not central to American national security." And Ken Griffin, his biggest donor, reels him. And the next day, Ron DeSantis is like, "Oh, no, it's really important that we continue to send hundreds of billions to
Eric Hoos, kid is Putin's buddy. How dare you?"
Zelensky or whatever. And then his donors demand a hate speech law in Florida. He pushes it. It passes. It was too obvious. I would say this to his face. I hope he sees this, because I mean it with love. You can't be a pure puppet of your biggest donors. Everyone's influenced by the people around him. Donors have a great deal of influence, inordinate influence probably, but you can't do exactly what they say every time. And it made DeSantis look weak, and it made him look controlled. And this is a moment where people are kind of hip to that trick, and they sort of know the politicians, you know what I mean, aren't really acting on their behalf or even independently. They're acting because some billionaire told them to do what they're doing.
And that's how they do it all the time. That's it. Now, there's a little bit more to that interview, but I wanted to play a little bit of some of the highlights from there, especially talking about Western civilization, how often you think about Rome, and also for the fact of, wait a minute here, folks. Everybody's getting wise to the idea, and I think even some Trump supporters are getting wise to the idea, too, about Trump and his association with his donors and the people who've given money to his campaign. Now, the whole game altogether, this is both Democrats and Republicans. Guess what? They work together and they're owned by the same people, corporations, big banks, lobby groups, all of that. There's a whole institution. And the thing is, many Americans, I think, are slowly realizing that they see a pattern of behaviors. Because when you are lied to constantly, and each generation realizes now, boomers, Gen Xers, millennials, Gen Z, and yes, Gen Alpha, hey, pull up a table. We got a lot to talk about here because we're all being owned and lied to by our politicians, who are in turn owned and submissive to the corporations that give them money. This isn't anything new, but it's a shock to many Americans' mindset because your elected official doesn't represent you. But going back to the very first video, sitting down and having a conversation, I think it's important that we end this segment with the conversation part. Look, the Putin interview, yes, a high point for Tucker and his long history of being in media. You know, the whole idea in media, like and anybody in independent media, in any media landscape, no matter what the genre is, when you have a guest on your show, hey, first of all, it's getting eyeballs onto your show. It's getting eyeballs onto your content. It's getting views. You're getting more people to check out what you're doing. And yes, that's what you're supposed to do. And was the interview with Putin, quote unquote, controversial? Yes and no, because it's nothing new, but because in today's hypercharged political environment where, oh, how dare you step out of the comfort zone and speak to Putin, you know, people are going to hype it up. But all it was at the end of the day was just another interview. How many of you, show of hands, really be honest, gonna ask an honest democracy poll here. Do you even remember that Tucker Carlson even interviewed Putin? Like, because I call it the blurring effect, where people forget things because we're so bombarded with videos and content all over social media, on the radio, on the television, all that stuff. Type 3 for, oh no, I remember it. I remember that he did that. Type 4, oh, you know what? I actually forgot it. No such thing as a wrong answer for this one. A real legit democracy. 3 or 4. 3 for you if you remember it. 4 if you, hey, no, I literally forgot about it. But folks, it is not controversial to do your job as someone involved in media to interview people. And people need to get over that. And yet you had so many people on X and Facebook, Instagram, YouTube saying Tucker should be canceled. No, I'm not for cancel culture. I'm not for censorship. I despise it in all its forms. It should never be allowed. It should never happen in the first place. You want to challenge somebody in the realm of ideas? Debate them. So Tucker has no regrets. But Piers Morgan, oh, he got triggered about Winston Churchill. You know, I think that's going to be his new question now that he can't say, do you bloody well condemn hummus? Do you love Winston Churchill? Do you love Winston Churchill? What are your thoughts? Give us your thoughts on it. Did Tucker Carlson, with his interview with Putin, was it controversial? Was it triggering? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below.